Okay, so let's just jump right in. The source material for today gives us three of the most, well, unusual instructions you'll probably ever hear. Lie down as dead, stare without blinking, and suck something. I know, they sound pretty strange, maybe even a little absurd.
But what if I told you that these aren't just random, bizarre commands? What if they're actually ancient, incredibly powerful techniques designed to fundamentally shift your consciousness? That's what we're digging into today. Exactly what these are, how on earth they work, and why people have been using them for centuries to search for a deeper reality.
So, let's start with the most dramatic one of the bunch. Lie down as dead. The whole goal here is, it's pretty radical. It's about trying to experience your own awareness as something completely separate from your physical body.
Now, the practice itself sounds simple, but trust me, it's a huge challenge. You just lie down and commit to absolute total stillness, like as if you were a corpse. The real work starts when your body starts to rebel. You can't move for an inch, you can't twitch, you can't react to a sudden noise, and when these powerful emotions bubble up like fear or anger, you just have to watch them without letting your body react at all.
And listen, this isn't just some theoretical exercise. The famous sage Raman Maharshi apparently reached enlightenment through a spontaneous version of this exact experience. When he was just 14 years old, he was suddenly hit with this overwhelming certainty that he was about to die. But instead of fighting it, he just surrendered. Completely.
And in that moment, he had this core realization. As his body became stiff and lifeless, he discovered something incredible. His physical body might have died, but his consciousness, that sense of I, was still there, totally alert, totally aware, and very much alive. He realized he wasn't the body being witnessed, he was the witness itself.
And this gets to the absolute heart of the technique. The source defines emotion as literally motion in the body. And when you think about it, that makes sense, right? Anger makes you clench your fists, sadness brings tears. So by consciously keeping the body dead still, you physically sever that automatic link. You stop the motion, and that lets you see the emotion for what it is without being yanked around by it.
Okay, so our second technique really builds on the first one. Once you've stilled the body, the next challenge is to still the mind. And the method is stare without blinking. This one is all about tackling that constant hurricane of chatter we all have in our heads.
And our example for this is the spiritual teacher Meher Baba. His dedication, wow, it was just extraordinary. He would lie there for hours on end, just staring at the ceiling without even a flicker of his eyelashes. He wasn't really looking at anything. He was using that fixed gaze to lock his mind in place.
And his commitment was absolute. For how long, you ask? The source says 3 years. I mean, just think about that. Most of us can't hold a stare for 3 minutes without our minds wandering off. 3 years of this unwavering focus, you can imagine how that led to a complete and profound inner transformation.
The result of all this is captured perfectly in this amazing story. An expert mind reader, someone who had supposedly never been wrong, was brought to Meher Baba. He sat down, closed his eyes to try and read Baba's thoughts, and he found nothing, a total blank.
Those were the mind reader's own astonished words. He couldn't find a single thought, not one word. Meher Baba's mind wasn't just quiet, it was completely vacant. Through all that constant staring, he had managed to totally stop the internal thought machine. And that brings us to our third and, maybe the most primal technique. Suck something and become the sucking. This one goes all the way back to the very first moments of our lives to try and dissolve our sense of being a separate self. The idea here, according to the source, is that sucking is our very first, most fundamental interaction with the world. It's how we got not just food, but warmth, love, life itself. That act is just deeply, deeply embedded in our unconscious.
So this primal urge often gets redirected into other things. The source suggests that smoking, for example, is basically a substitute for the mother's breast. You've got the nipple-like shape, the warmth. This technique is about reclaiming that act. It's not about what you're sucking, but about the process itself.
So the core instruction here is, yeah, it's pretty unusual. The goal is to just dissolve the separation between the doer and the deed. You're told to forget the sucker and forget the thing being sucked. All that's supposed to remain is the process itself, the pure action of sucking, and you just merge with it completely. The source actually gives this fascinating case study. There was a man who was deeply, deeply obsessed with women's breasts, and he was given this technique. He was told to just imagine a breast and practice the act of sucking it, day after day. And over months, this external practice became a silent, internal thing. And the result was just astonishing. He came back completely transformed, saying that the desire was simply gone. But it was even more than that.
He felt this profound state of acceptance and bliss. By becoming the process, the obsessive self that was doing all the desiring just kind of disappeared. So, okay, we have 3 very different, kind of weird techniques: lying dead, staring, and sucking. So what's the common key here? What's the thread? It's all about a fundamental shift in your identity, from being the doer to becoming the witness. Each one of these techniques systematically dismantles a core part of how we see ourselves. Lying down as dead teaches you are not your physical body. Staring without blinking shows you are not your constant thoughts. And becoming the sucking reveals that you are not even the doer who performs the actions.
The source offers this perfect metaphor to really capture this final goal. It says, when you run, forget the runner. Feel that there's no separate person inside you doing the running. There's just the process of running itself, almost like a river flowing.
Ultimately, all 3 of these paths, as different as they seem, they all lead to the same place. They're designed to help you stop identifying as the actor on the stage of your life and realize you're actually the silent awareness that's watching it all happen.
And that leaves us with the biggest question of all, the very one these techniques are designed to make you ask yourself. If you strip away the body, and you strip away the mind, and you strip away the sense of being a doer, what's left? What are you really?